Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm happy to be with you here today. This week I've been talking about some random scriptures, and I'll do that all week long. This morning I'd like to share one from the book of Job, chapter 11 exactly, and looking at verses 18 and 19. And here's what it says. Having hope will give you courage. You will be protected and will rest in safety. You will lie down unafraid, and many will look to you for help. As you know, the story of Job, or maybe you don't know, is about a man who was attacked by Satan, according to the Bible. God allowed Satan to destroy everything he had. Absolutely everything. Can you imagine losing everything? Not only your job, but your possessions, your family, your children, and even your health, so that you are reduced down to the bare minimum of what it means to be alive. And that's what happens to Job. Now, in the midst of this story, he has three friends who offer advice, none of which is, well, really very good, helpful anyway. And then we come to these words. Having hope will give you courage. Well, let's think a minute. What is hope? Hope is a belief. It's an attitude. It's a conviction. Hope is something that happens between the ears. Now, hope is not necessarily rooted in something you can physically touch or something that you can measure. It's something that happens up here. And up here is where in many, many situations you either win or lose the battle to keep going. Usually people talk about having hope when they are at the end of the rope, as we say, when things have gone wrong and they keep going wrong and they keep going wrong. And it seems like they're never going to stop going wrong. I remember reading about some of the survivors in the Holocaust of World War II, where the Germans took them into custody, the Jews, the gypsies, the disabled, anybody who was different, and tortured them and killed most of them, or at least a whole bunch of them. And it was a story about how do you survive that? Because at the end of the war, if you've ever seen any of the pictures, the survivors were just emaciated because they had very little food. And how do you survive that? And I think there's only one way, and that's to have hope. Because hope is that thing that keeps you going. Hope is the belief that somehow, some way, at some time, the situation's going to change. If you don't think it's ever going to change, then what psychologists and therapists tell us is you just give up. And once you give up, you're dead. Maybe not at that moment, but you're going to die. You're not going to survive. And so it says here that hope, having hope, will give you courage. You will be protected and rest in safety. Now, I don't know if you've ever been in a time in your life when you had no hope at all. I know some of you listening to me might be at that spot. Or some of you have been struggling with that spot for a long, long time. I know as a pastor, I've talked to many people, I'm talking to one right now, for whom hope seems unavailable. And once we give up hope, it's over, folks. Now, what do we hope in? Sometimes we hope in our own abilities, and that's a good thing if they happen to be strong. Or we hope in someone else doing something, which is okay as long as that someone does it. Or we hope in this or we hope in that. But this passage is talking about, or in the context of hoping in God. I hope God will do something. Well, it says here that when we have that hope, we'll be protected and we can rest in safety. Most people who don't have hope don't rest. It consumes them. They just struggle every minute with the thoughts of whatever it is that's causing the hopelessness. They can't rest. They can't calm down. They can't settle themselves. And as a result, nothing ever gets better. Well, that's not what God wants. He wants us to have hope because it gives protection, it gives safety. And then it goes on to say, you will lie down unafraid. The picture here is someone who, in the midst of absolute disaster, and some of us think we're in absolute disaster when we're not even really close, but it feels that way, so it doesn't matter. We're in absolute disaster. Hope in God allows them to relax. And once we relax, we can trust. I said to someone recently, I believe that you're going to find what you're looking for. And I said, even if you can't believe that, then believe in the fact that I believe it. Something to hang on to. And when we find that presence of God and that peace that comes knowing that He knows what's happening, He is in charge always, then we can rest and we can be unafraid. And then it goes on to say, and many will look to you for help. In the midst of your struggles, God is still there. Don't lose hope. Keep fighting with hope that God will work the miracle you're waiting to find. If you do that, then this passage here tells us you'll be able to rest, you'll be unafraid, and even others will come ask you about what you have. What do you think about that today? Hope you're having a great day. Hope you have a great week. I'll be back tomorrow with some more ideas and thoughts. Thanks for listening. If you have any concerns or prayer needs, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Thank you so much for being here. I'll talk to you again.